Yes. The burden of proof. The burden of persuasion, evidence for going forward with an application for written consent is on the prohibited person seeking the relief. Yes. Now, this burden of proof that you said that you didn't have to admit that I wasn't in Squim. Yeah. I wasn't in Brennan. Yes. The whole idea that you could say I was crazy and had committed a crime of domestic violence and child abuse. Yes. And all you needed was an arrest from Guam's police department. Yeah. And that's all you needed. My wife could run into the police or the sheriff's or the court, yes, and say, my husband's crazy, committed domestic violence, and you decided right now. Now, obviously, I was never convicted of any crimes. Right. I never committed domestic violence or child abuse. Yep. My record was expunged, and you said, well, once we issue a court order, there's nothing I can do. If I don't like it, well, this is a big problem because the arrest didn't happen in Washington State. I was arrested. I spent 10 days in jail because I had no place to live. Yes. I did 7 hours of parenting classes, and you decided to believe my wife when she wasn't an actual resident of the state of Washington because I was arrested. Tope! Now, when I told you that I wanted custody of my sons, you said we don't have to do that. But you do. I didn't commit any domestic violence or child abuse. I wasn't an abusive husband, and I wasn't an abusive father. Now, identifying prohibited persons, yes. There seems to be some sort of responsibility of insurers and others, yes. Just so that I know, all these insurances, the life insurances of those that are sheriffs, yes. Let's see here. Convicted. Convicted is defined in federal law as 29 U.S. Code. Yes. 504C1 and 29 U.S. Code 1111C1 means that a person shall be deemed to have been convicted under the disability of conviction from the date of the judgment of the trial court, regardless of whether that judgment remains under appeal. Poop. Now, your individual life insurances, yes. Why don't you give me all of them? Of every police department in the United States. It seemed that the actual law enforcement of this nation is obligated to admit any exculpatory evidence that they have. Yes. And you made me go to court for 16 months. Poop. Then you dismissed the case because you said I was incompetent. I'm going to want their life insurances. Every sheriff, undersheriff, deputy sheriff, and jailer in every jail of the United States. I'm going to want to know the life insurances of all of those that work as guards in prisons. And I want to know if they learned of child abuse, child neglect, child abduction while employed at the prison that they've been employed at. Because as I understand the law, yes, if you have knowledge of child abduction, kidnapping, maltreatment, abuse of children, and you had documented, as in you did read that my sons are in the wrong fucking grades, I can take the life insurance therapy. Now, what is the problem with America's law enforcement? What is the problem? Did you think you were going to be able to keep your life insurance? No. You can sign ownership of all life insurance over to me as the plaintiff suing every police department. There is what's known as breach of trust. Yes. And there is an obligation. Now, when I read in the Peninsula Daily News, yes, of the actual obligation of the prosecuting attorney's office and the obligation of law enforcement, yes, to admit any exculpatory evidence that would exonerate an individual, yes. And then you don't do that. And I'm sitting here waiting for you to do it. It's now a breach of the trust of the Office of Law Enforcement.